Hey everyone, Matthew Robinson here with another video for Off the Leash. Now some of you have been asking me to give a few more details on the character's plot and setting of Off the Leash, and I think that's more than fair, and so in this video I'm going to elaborate on that a little bit more. Let's talk about the setting first, Washington DC. I chose Washington DC because I feel it's an underused city in the film noir genre. I mean, you've got some great architecture here, this great mix of old-fashioned and new parks, museums, and of course dirty politicians are all afoot in the city of DC. So I felt this was a good city to use, plus I used to live in DC, so it's kind of writing what I know. I almost chose Cincinnati, the other city that I lived in. One of the characters, Tiffany, actually is from Cincinnati, and I'll elaborate on that a bit more. But I chose DC in the end because I really felt it was a city I could do a lot in because of its high crime and homicide rate, and it felt it was a nice mix of the politicians and the police. Now let's talk a little bit about the characters, David and Tiffany. David is the German Shepherd. He is one of the main characters of this story. He is a veteran cop. He's been working for the DCPD for at least 10 years now. So he's really dedicated to this. This is his career. And he's gotten a little world weary at working so long with the DCP. He's kind of gotten a little depressed. And once his partner, John Rogers, is killed, he kind of starts to careen off the edge. And I didn't want it to be like an instantaneous thing because I feel like rarely when people snap, it's just like instantly they change into a different person. And I felt it would be better to have the readers kind of go through that journey of change with David as he kind of starts adapting to this new life and this new worldview that he's developing. And of course he gets a new partner, a rookie partner from Cincinnati. And yes, I know, it's a little cliche to have the main character start off, has his partner get killed, and then gets a new partner. I know it's cliche, so let's just get it out of the way in issue 1. But Tiffany Lyons is a detective from Cincinnati. And she has a very impressive arrest record in terms of the cases she's solved. But it hasn't been for anything serious like homicide. It's been like petty robbery, traffic violations, things of that nature she's been investigating. So David knows that she's a little green, and Tiffany, being one, a woman, and two, just someone trying to prove herself, really is trying to buck up and show that she can do this job, and that's going to lead to some kind of interesting tension between the two that you'll see a lot in Volume 1 and of course in the volumes to come. So Tiffany and David, I wanted to have two characters who were working together but also simultaneously competing with each other. They both want to move up the ranks of DCP. Tiffany maybe a little bit more than David at this point, and that creates, I think, an interesting kind of undertone with them. While Tiffany is helping David, she's also subtly trying to take his job. And I think that's a fun kind of dynamic with the characters that you don't see a lot with partners. They're usually either, they argue and they fight, but in the end they get along, or they're just buddies. And in this one, it's kind of a mix between the two with kind of this competition to push the other one out of the way. And finally, a little bit more about the plot of Off the Leash, as well as the style and the inspiration. I, of course, have loved the film noir genre since I was a little kid. The Third Man, Double Indemnity, Seven. Those are just a few of my favorite film noir and neo-noir films. And with Off the Leash, there's a lot of inspiration from those movies. I want the audience to get a chance to know the villains and to know the criminals that they're chasing, and also some of the people who are kind of in between, the gray areas. There's a character you're going to meet in there called Nicholas Anton, who's a Russian mobster who has a very, if it wasn't for the fact that he was a murderer and basically a thief, he'd have a very inspirational story overcoming all the obstacles that he did. And so he kind of plays in between the two sides. But as far as the plot goes, it's not going to just be the mystery of the week. While each volume will definitely feature one mystery, and maybe it'll take multiple volumes to solve one case, this is something where it's an overarching story. There's a lot going on here. So you have to read all the volumes. It's not like you can just pick up Volume 3, and it's not like a Hardy Boys mystery or a Boxcar Children novel where you can pick one up and it's fine. You pick it up right away. You need to see what's happened in Volume 2 and Volume 1 so you know how these characters have been moving towards the point that they are, and also so you know certain characters, what their motivations are, what they've done in the past, and possibly what they'll do in the future. There's going to be villains that show up in one volume that show up in the next volume, or characters and heroes who are there in like maybe volume 1 or 2 and then you don't see them again until volume 6. And so that's something I think that's going to be really important about the plot, that it's not just these pulp fiction novels volumized. Like, this is something where you have to stay in tune with the story. You'll still be able to pick it up pretty easily, it'll still be accessible to everyone, but I wanted to make something that was an overarching story. It's all leading to something. Of course, I'm not going to tell you what that is, but you're just going to have to fund this first volume in order for that to happen. So I hope this explains a little bit more about Off the Leash, the characters, the setting, and the plot. If you have any more questions or want something else elaborated on, please feel free to leave a comment. I have the time and I would love to tell you guys more about this. So remember the pledge, increase your pledge perhaps if you want to, but seriously, thank you for everyone who's already pledged and is going to pledge. Really appreciate it. Let's get Off the Leash funded. Until next time, I'm Matthew Robinson. Please spread the word about Off the Leash.